Muy buenas o no muy buenas, gente, ¿qué tal? Bienvenidos o no bienvenidos a Stanley o no Stanley Parabel. Bienvenidos, gente, a una nueva aventura que empezamos hoy aquí en el canal. Una aventura que hace tiempo que yo seguí la pista en su momento, ¿vale? Porque tiene unos añitos ya. Pero al final me olvidé de él, ¿vale? Hasta que ha aparecido de nuevo y me he acordado de él. También numerosos de vosotros me habéis recomendado jugarla. Se ve que es una historia bastante paranoias, ¿vale? Una historia de... Bueno, ya veis aquí el fondo, ¿vale? Solamente vemos que es el fondo del menú. El PC tiene el fondo del menú, en el cual tiene un PC que tiene el fondo del menú, en el cual tiene un PC... ¿Vale? Me huele a mí a historia muy paranoias, pero bueno, me apetecía porque hace tiempo que no jugamos a nada así paranoias, ¿vale? Y bueno, obviamente, si me queréis acompañar, pues ahí estaremos. Sin más, ¿empezamos una aventura? Empezamos, let's go. El final nunca es el final nunca es el final, es nunca el final es cargando. Vaya grande, dos, que es cargando, es cargando. Vaya tela.
This is the story of a man named Stanley. Stanley worked for a company in a big building where he was employee number 427. Employee number 427's job was simple. He sat at his desk in room 427 and he pushed buttons on a keyboard. Orders came to him through a monitor on his desk, telling him what buttons to push, how long to push them, and in what order. This is what employee 427 did every day of every month of every year. And although others might have considered it soul-ending, Stanley relished every moment that the orders came in, as though he had been made exactly for this job. And Stanley was happy.
Vale.
And then one day, something very peculiar happened. Something that would forever change Stanley. Something he would never quite forget. He had been at his desk for nearly an hour when he realized that not one single order had arrived on the monitor for him to follow. No one had showed up to give him instructions, call a meeting, or even say hi. Never in all his years at the company had this happened, this complete isolation. Something was very clearly wrong. Shocked, frozen solid, Stanley found himself unable to move for the longest time. But as he came to his wits and regained his senses, he got up from his desk and stepped out of his office.
Vale, nos movemos. Empezamos fuerte, Vale, o sea, Stanley 427. Nos dedicamos simplemente a pulsar teclas, las teclas que nos ponían aquí. Vale, yo creo que esto también es, en cierta manera, un mensaje directo, a veces, en según qué cosas de la vida, Creo que tendrá bastante mensaje este juego. Aparte de lo paranoias que puede llegar a ser, hay que leer entre líneas. Creo yo que es de estos juegos.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Oh, please. Are you really just doing this for the achievement? Click a door 5 times. Is that all that you think an achievement is? No. I can't just give these merits away for such little effort. A measly 5 clicks.
Esto es porque lo he hecho aquí.
You were to click the door 20 times. I would say that's the kind of effort that warrants recognition.
Vale. ¿Puedo hacerlo? 2, 3, 4, 5...
I have to say, I'm still not feeling the satisfaction of witnessing true effort for a noble cause. Perhaps 50 clicks will do it. Yes.
Y he perdido la cuenta.
50 clicks.
Madre mía, tú. ¿Qué dices? No sé cuántos llevo ni de coña, Yo voy dándole.
No, I'm still not feeling it. I want this achievement to have meant something. It has to be a true reward for valiant effort. I want to see some hustle, Stanley. I want to see commitment, a willingness to go all the way, no matter what the cost. Why don't you go put 20 clicks into door number 4?
20 clics a la 417. ¿A la 417? Claro, ¿veis? Son todo órdenes lo que nos dan, Todo órdenes. 20 clics a la 417. Necesitamos, o sea, vivimos para recibir órdenes. 417. 417, aquí. 1, 2, 3, 4,
Great. Now, go click a few times on door 437.
Unas veces a la 437. ¿Qué es esto, tú? 437. Vale. Vivimos para recibir órdenes, gente. 437. ¿Dónde está esta, tío? Ah, vale, espérate. 431 a 36. Ah, mira aquí. ¿Cuántas ha dicho?
Excellent. I think we're getting somewhere. Now, door 415.
415, 10.
Clicks or so.
Madre mía, chaval. Cojones es esto, tú. 415, 10 clics. 415. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10.
Now, back to door number 437.
A la nuestra. Ah, no, 437. Madre mía, tío, somos mandados, ¿eh? ¿Y ahora qué aquí? ¿Aquí qué?
Let's see. How about you click on, well, I don't know, the copy machine?
La fotocopiadora, venga, va.
All right, back to room 417. I'm really feeling it now. I think we're getting somewhere.
417, ¿qué cojones? ¿Qué dices, chaval? Bueno, ya os he dicho que era una paranoia total, ¿eh? 417.
Okay, now go climb on employee 4.
Ve a trepar el escritorio del empleado 419. ¿Qué cojones, tú? 419. ¿Y qué hago aquí?
Yes.
Ah, vale.
This is great. You're putting it all on the line, Stanley. I like that. All right, let's keep it up. Go give me a few clicks on door 416.
Ay, Dios mío. Unos cuantos clics, ha dicho.
We've almost got it. Now the copy machine. Do that one again.
La fotocopiadora. Uf, tenemos que volver para allá, tío. Madre mía, chaval. ¡Qué locurón!
Finish it off, Stanley. 5
En la 430. 430. 2, 3, 4, 5. Logro desbloqueado.
Oh, wow. That felt amazing. Oh, you really earned it, Stanley.
¿Qué te parece, eh?
Back. Yes, I'm very proud of how far we've come today. Just think, only a few minutes ago you believed an achievement was worth 5 little clicks. Really now, what were you thinking?
Vale. Seguimos, pues, entonces, supongo. A este ya no dice nada. Vale, vamos a seguir. Vamos a seguir. Dios, qué locurón, tú. El café tirado por el suelo. I hate Monday. Hostia, quiero esa taza. Quiero esa taza, por Dios. Quiero esa taza.
When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door on his left.
¿Y si entro a la de la derecha, qué?
This was not the correct way to the meeting room, and Stanley knew it perfectly well. Perhaps he wanted to stop by the employee lounge first, just to admire it.
Vale. Nada. 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 Qué bonito, ¿eh? Hostia, tú.
Ah, yes, truly a room worth admiring. It had really been worth the detour after all, just to spend a few moments here in this immaculate, beautifully constructed room. Stanley simply stood here, drinking it all in.
Hombre, tampoco es que sea tan bonita, pero bueno. Supongo que después de un día de trabajo esta es la sala de descanso.
Yes, really, really worth it being here in the room. A room so utterly captivating that even though all your co-workers have mysteriously vanished,
Es
here
muy...
you sit looking at these chairs and some paintings.
Hombre, es muy diferente al resto de salas. Es todo azul, lo otro es todo, quieras o no, pues relaja.
At
El
this
azul.
point, Stanley's obsession with this room bordered on creepy and reflected poorly on his overall personality. It's possible that this is why everyone left.
Vale, o sea que si estoy mucho rato aquí empiezo a decir esto. Bueno, va.
But at last, he'd had enough of the amazing room and took the first open door on his left to get back to business.
¿Aquí tenemos que volver? ¿Y esto qué es?
Stanley was so bad at following directions, it's incredible he wasn't fired years ago.
Vale, bueno, la próxima vez Bueno, a ver, hay varios finales, creo, ¿eh? Bueno, no sé, no estoy seguro. Podéis seguir o no las órdenes, creo. Creo que va siendo el momento de no seguirlas, pero bueno, también vamos a seguir algunas. Vale. No mientas, si tú, si tú estás descansando aquí, para. Tiene un toque de humor muy bueno, sí señor. What the fuck?
Look, Stanley, I think perhaps we've gotten off on the wrong foot here. I'm not your enemy, really, I'm not. I realize that investing your trust in someone else can be difficult, but the fact is that the story has been about nothing but you all this time. There's someone you've been neglecting, Stanley. Someone you've forgotten about. Please, stop trying to make every decision by yourself. Now, I'm not asking for me, I'm asking for her.
A ella. ¿A ella?
This is it, Stanley. Your chance to redeem yourself, to put your work aside, to let her back into your life. She's been waiting.
¿Quién es ella, tío? Uf, qué negro está esto. Madre. Joder.
That's her, Stanley. You need to be the one to do this, to reach out to her. If you can truly place your faith in another, then pick up the phone.
Bueno,
Oh,
chaval.
Stanley, is that you? Hold on, sweetie. Sorry to keep you waiting. I'm just pulling the bread out of the oven. All right. Okay, there we go. All right, now, I want you to come in and tell me all about your day.
Gotcha! Oh, come on. Did you actually think you had a loving wife who'd want to commit their life to you? I'm trying to make a point here, Stanley. I'm trying to get you to see something. Come inside. Let me show you what's really going on here.
No me deja avanzar para allá. Ah, sí. Bueno, va, venga. Madre mía, ¿qué es
This
esto?
is a very sad story about the death of a man named Stanley.
Buenos días, empleado 427. Presionar en el teclado.
Stanley is quite a boring fellow. He has a job that demands nothing of him, and every button that he pushes is a reminder of the inconsequential nature of his existence. Look at him there, pushing buttons, doing exactly what he's told to do. Now he's pushing a button. Now he's eating lunch. Now he's going home. Now he's coming back to work. One might even feel sorry for him, except that he's chosen this life.
¿Y si no presiono? Tengo que presionar sí o sí, ¿no? Aquí. Vale.
But in his mind, in his mind he can go on fantastic adventures. From behind his desk, Stanley dreamed of wild expeditions into the unknown, fantastic discoveries of new lands. It was wonderful. And each day that he returned to work was a reminder that none of it would ever happen to him.
Presione acá para mirar la televisión.
And so he began to fantasize about his own job. First, he imagined that one day while at work, he stepped up from his desk to realize that all of his co-workers, his boss, everyone in the building had suddenly vanished off the face of the earth. The thought excited him terribly.
Para pasar el tiempo con los muchachos.
So he went further. He imagined that he came to two open doors and that he could go through either. At last, choice. It barely even mattered what lay behind each door. The mere thought that his decisions would mean something was almost too wonderful to behold. As he wandered through this fantasy world, he began to fill it with many possible paths and destinations. Down one path lay an enormous round room with monitors and mind controls. And down another was a yellow line that weaved in many directions. And down another was a game with a baby. And he called it the Stanley Parable.
Presiona T para contarle a los niños una historia.
It was such a wonderful fantasy, and so in his head he relived it again, and then again, and again, over and over, wishing beyond hope that it would never end, that he might always feel this free. Surely there's an answer down some new path, mustn't there be? Perhaps if he played just one more time. But there is no answer. How could there possibly be? In reality, all he's doing is pushing the same buttons he always has. Nothing has changed. The longer he spends here, the more invested he gets, the more he forgets which life is the real one.
Volvemos a estar aquí, tío. Para dormir.
And I'm trying to tell him this, that in this world he can never be anything but an observer, that as long as he remains here, he's slowly killing himself. But he won't listen to me. He won't stop. Here, watch this.
Es como llevarse el trabajo a casa, ¿no?
The screen asks you to push a button. Do not do it.
¿Y si no presiono 0? No, me parece que voy a tener que hacerlo, ¿no?
You see?
Ya estamos otra vez en el trabajo, tío.
How can I tell him in a way that he'll understand that every second he remains here, he's electing to kill himself? How can I get him to see what I see? How can I make him look at himself?
¿Para cuestionar nada?
I suppose I can't, not in the way I want him to. But I don't make the rules. I simply play to my intended purpose, the same as Stanley. We're not so different, I suppose. I'll try once more to convey all this to him. I'm compelled to. I must. Perhaps, well, maybe this time he'll see. Maybe this time.
Tal vez esta funcione, ¿no?
And Stanley pushed a button. And I tried again. And Stanley pushed a button. And I
Hay que presionar un botón, supongo, al azar. Hostia, vaya fumada, chaval. Vaya fumada.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean?
Otra vez.
Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
Vuelvo a hacer lo de las puertas, no me dice nada, ¿no? No. La fotocopiadora tampoco me dice nada, vale. Hostias, tú qué fumote, chaval. En cierta manera tiene un montón de mensaje, ¿eh? Al menos de momento, ya veremos en el transcurso de la historia. ¿Qué pone ahí? Esperando entrada. Ay, Dios mío, tú. El café tirado. Con la taza de I Hate Mondays. Que de hecho tiene un montón de mensajes en plan, me llevo el trabajo a casa. Es como si yo cuando volví a casa... es como si siguiera trabajando, ¿no? Una cosa así, porque hemos entrado como en nuestro portal de la casa, pero tenía el mismo número que el número de oficina nuestro, ¿sabes? Una locura, chaval.
When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door on his left.
Es que hago ahora, tío. Es que a lo mejor por la derecha pase todo el rato igual. Venga, vamos a la izquierda ahora. A lo mejor no, a lo mejor podías ahí escoger.
Yet there was not a single person here either. Feeling a wave of disbelief, Stanley decided to go up to his boss's office, hoping he might find an answer there.
A la oficina del jefe. Esto es la sala de reuniones, ¿no? Meeting floor room. No altere sin consultar al manager. Vale, no altere la pizarra, o sea, no borre nada. No coste eficiente. ¿Quién ha movido mi escritorio? Por favor. Madre mía, tío. Esto es un claro mensaje a cómo van muchas cosas, tío. El futuro fue ayer. Mañana es ahora. Flipas con las frases, macho. Necesitamos reviews. 402 más 405. Vale, parecen sí. temas de estrategia comercial y demás. ¿Teenagers? Hostia. Espacio entre los adolescentes. Un montón de porcentaje. O sea... Tíralo al buzón de... O sea, a la basura de las ideas o algo así. Vaya locura, chaval. Un fax. ¿Qué es lo que quiere la gente? Cosas, dinero, más dinero. Cosas, pero dinero para comprar más cosas. Gráficos. Gráficos sobre cosas más dinero. The stock market is somewhere... sí, estrategias comerciales. Nuestro posicionamiento en el mercado, para así llamarlo, es en algún sitio de aquí. Colored in red segment. Segmento colorado. Stripes. Madre mía, tú. Todo el mundo es único. Numerosos slides en esa slide. Gráficos, gráficos y slides. ¿Qué cojones, tío, tiene de sentido esto? Ratio de el cual los gráficos en el mismo slide, en la misma información. What the fuck. Ratio de incremento. Por favor, más gráficos. Por favor, bor. El jefe. Minuto de apreciación. Vale, es un momento para dedicarle a tu jefe, ¿no? Solucionar conflictos interpersonales. Si no has encontrado a ti mismo el conflicto con otros empleados... Joder, macho, va demasiado rápido. ¿Cuáles son los sueños del futuro? Trascendencia, suceso, éxito, metamorfosis, spring break, polución, un barco... Vale,
Stanley just stood there doing nothing at all. He seemed to think I had nothing better to do with my time than to sit around and describe every fascinating little detail of his inability to do anything. This is why Stanley and I are on such good terms.
Ponía trucos o tips para ser despedido o no ser despedido, alguna historia así, tío. Vale, para hacer sinergia... Shift, grow, market para monetizar, free to play. Madre mía, tú, locuras. Locuras, venga, vámonos. Ey, espérate. Fotos de la oficina en la oficina, ¿sabes? O sea, what? Broom closet, ¿qué es broom? Joder, se abre. Ah, vale.
Stanley stepped into the broom closet, but there was nothing here, so he turned around and got back on track.
Ya veis que podéis hacer un mogollón de cosas. Bueno, mogollón, a ver, es muy guiado, pero podéis entrar en sitios.
No choice to make, no path to follow, just an empty broom closet. No reason to still be here.
Y si vuelvo a entrar aquí, no me dices nada. Supongo que si me quedara más rato me diría algo. Vamos. ¿Ahora qué? ¿Subir o bajar, no?
Stanley walked upstairs to his boss's office.
Pues no. Hostia. ¿Dónde nos metemos aquí, tío?
But Stanley just couldn't do it. He considered the possibility of facing his boss. Admitting he had left his post during work hours, he might be fired for that. And in such a competitive economy, why had he taken that risk? All because he believed everyone had vanished? His boss would think he was crazy. And then something occurred to Stanley. Maybe, he thought to himself, maybe I am crazy. All of my co-workers blinking mysteriously out of existence in a single moment for no reason at all? None of it made any logical sense. And as Stanley pondered this, he began to make other strange observations. For example, why couldn't he see his feet when he looked down? Why did doors close automatically behind him wherever he went? And for that matter, these rooms were starting to look pretty familiar. Were they simply repeating? No, Stanley said to himself, this is all too strange. This can't be real. And at last, he came to the conclusion that had been on the tip of his tongue. He just hadn't found the words for it. I'm dreaming, he yelled. This is all a dream. Oh, what a relief Stanley felt to have finally found an answer, an explanation. His co-workers weren't actually gone. He wasn't going to lose his job. He wasn't crazy after all. And he thought to himself, I suppose I'll wake up soon. I'll have to go back to my boring real-life job pushing buttons. I may as well enjoy this while I'm still lucid. So, he imagined himself flying and began to gently float above the ground. Then he imagined himself soaring through space on a magical starfield. And it too appeared.
Hostia, qué guapo, chaval.
Fun, and Stanley marveled that he had still not woken up. How was he remaining so lucid? And then perhaps the strangest question of them all entered Stanley's head. One he was amazed he hadn't asked himself sooner.
What?
Why is there a voice in my head dictating everything that I'm doing and thinking? Now the voice was describing itself being considered by Stanley, who found it particularly strange. I'm dreaming about a voice describing me, thinking about how it's describing my thoughts, he thought. And while he thought it all very odd and wondered if this voice spoke to all people in their dreams, the truth was that, of course, this was not a dream. How could it be? Was Stanley simply deceiving himself, believing that if he's asleep, he doesn't have to take responsibility for himself? Stanley is as awake right now as he's ever been in his life. Now, hearing the voice speak these words was quite a shock.
Otra vez.
He knew for certain, beyond a doubt, that this was in fact a dream. Did the voice not see him float and make the magical stars just a moment ago? How else would the voice explain all that? This voice was a part of himself too. Surely, if he could just... He would prove it. He would prove that he was in control, that this was a dream. So he closed his eyes
Así que cerró sus ojos
and he
suavemente.
invited himself to wake up. He felt the cool weight of the blanket on his skin, the press of the mattress on his back, the fresh air of a world outside this one. Let me wake up, he thought to himself. I'm through with this dream. I wish it to be over. Let me go back to my job. Let me continue pushing the buttons. Please, it's all I want. I want my apartment, and my wife, and my job. All I want is my life exactly the way it's always been. My life is normal. I am normal. Everything will be fine. I am okay. Stanley began screaming. Please, someone, wake me up. My name is Stanley. I have a boss. I have an office. I am real. Please, just someone tell me I am real. I must be real. I must be. Can anyone hear my voice? Who am I? Who am I? And everything went black. This is the story of a woman named Mariella. Mariella woke up on a day like any other. She arose, got dressed, gathered her belongings, and walked to her place of work. But on this particular day, her walk was interrupted by the body of a man who had stumbled through town talking and screaming to himself, then collapsed dead on the sidewalk. And although she would soon turn to go call for an ambulance, for just a few brief moments, she considered the strange man. He was obviously crazy. This much she knew. Everyone knows what crazy people look like. And in that moment, she thought to herself how lucky she was to be normal. I am sane. I am in control of my mind. I know what is real and what isn't. It was comforting to think this, and in a certain way, seeing this man made her feel better. But then she remembered the meeting she had scheduled for that day. The very important people whose impressions of her would affect her career, and by extension, the rest of her life. She had no time for this, so it was only a moment that she stood there, staring down at the body. And then she turned and ran.
Todo va sobre las decisiones, ¿eh? Todo, absolutamente. Hostia. ¿Vale? Bueno, gente, pues yo creo que lo dejaré por aquí, ¿vale? Me parece que hemos empezado, cuando pone eso, es que guarda el juego de alguna manera, supongo. Vale, así que lo dejaremos aquí. Volvemos a empezar en donde estábamos, ¿vale? Bueno, hay que leer entre líneas. Es un juego que obviamente es para un público bastante reducido, pero que creo que tiene un gran mensaje, ¿no? Es en plan que el ser humano está siempre atado a órdenes y representa que todo está, digamos, funcionando, que somos una pieza más de un engranaje mucho mayor, ¿no? Que es la maquinaria que hace que el mundo gire, básicamente, ¿no? Entonces, ¿cuál es la vida que nosotros queremos? ¿Cuál es la vida que nosotros... Pero para querer esa vida, a lo mejor necesitas captar un montón de órdenes y hacer órdenes que tal vez no te gusten. A veces desafías esas órdenes y tomas otros caminos que a lo mejor te perjudican o te benefician, pero nunca lo sabes. No sé, a mí sinceramente, a ver, es una rayada, ¿vale? Pero realmente cuando vas a este tipo de narrativa o de juegos y ya sabes a lo que vas, ¿no? Sin más, gente, yo lo dejo por aquí porque no es un juego muy largo y quiero pues hacer una miniserie. Y por supuesto, muchísimas gracias a todos los que habéis estado aquí, ¿vale? Acompañándome a mí y a Stanley y su locura por apretar botones aquí en Stanley Parable. Y por supuesto, en próximos días seguiremos con la serie y obviamente os invito a continuarla. Por supuesto, si queréis más, muchísimas gracias por vuestro tiempo. Y ya lo sabéis, si os ha gustado el vídeo, dadle un publicazo, compartirlo con quien queráis y nos vemos en el próximo. Saludos y hasta la próxima.
Stood for a long time in one spot. It's part of a game. He likes to see how long he can go without dying. So far, he's doing excellent. And if he just stays right where he is, I'm sure he'll keep up that good momentum. Let's observe the genius at work.
Ay, Dios mío. Bueno, gente, muchísimas gracias por estar ahí y nos vemos. Hasta luego. Chao.